I'd like to call the Commissioners' meeting to order for Wednesday, February 8th.
Sorry.
And the item on the agenda is public input at 8:30. Public input, yes.
As you know, I was here at your last meeting, and your second statement here is we're no longer going to keep any minutes from public input. I was a little disturbed by that.
Yeah.
Because that is a form of communication, and the more I thought about it, I looked up censorship, which is the suppression of speech or other public communication which may be considered objectionable, harmful, sensitive, or inconvenient by the general body of people as determined by a government. Are you in fact practicing censorship? Sometimes when the public asks you questions, they want to clarify a decision that was made by the commissioners that may not have been easy for other people to understand. So are you in fact practicing censorship by not putting in the public comments?
No, I think the problem with public comment is fine. And even I opened it up for when a person gave a report for the public to ask questions. I had no problems with that. So when we get into the minutes, we had 17 pages of minutes, and then we started correcting that, what everybody else said in public and what they asked, and it just became a hassle, as you know. We spent half an hour, it was an hour, correcting the minutes from the previous week. I realize that that document is a legal document and it needs to be corrected. But if we can eliminate some of the stuff that's in it, it would be better to serve the people, I believe. But go ahead.
Are these meetings not taped?
Yes, yes they are,
Okay.
right?
The meetings?
The meetings are taped, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, not just by Ed, but you
Yes.
preserve
Yes.
your minutes. So
Yeah.
if someone came in and requested a copy of the tape, they would be able to get it to find out what was really said, whereas you're not going to be putting in. Now, as you know, I'm a selectman in Ossipee, and we sometimes have people come to those meetings, and their public comments are always in. What you do is you write a synopsis. As in last week, the gentleman that is very hard of hearing and has a loud voice asked about the reimbursement to employees.
Right,
It didn't need to be word for word. A synopsis
yeah,
would work.
yeah.
Then you wouldn't have to worry about going back and correcting 5,000 things and muddying up the minutes even more.
Yeah,
But just be aware that there's a concern of censorship by not putting the public comments in.
okay.
I want to say something. I don't know if they keep all tapes because the minute taker has the recording. So I don't know what happened because even the non-public minutes, the recorder, it was deleted. It was erased. So I don't know what they're doing actually with the public one. I don't think they're keeping it.
Well, are we or aren't we?
Well, they're on the tape, but,
Yeah, and then?
but, you know, when it gets full,
Then, so it did get erased, so we don't
I
have
haven't
them.
erased anything yet, but,
So you still
I
have them
still
all?
have them, sure. yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, point well taken. Any other further comment from anybody? Yes,
I'll have to wait till Commissioner Kenny gets back to set a question.
yes, Ed?
I have a quick comment. A good process to follow for public minutes is to have the public write a written statement, read the statement if they want it in the minutes, and just attach that statement to the minutes rather than copy it.
And the problem comes, I think, that when the subject comes up, they don't have a chance to write up the questions or whatever they have that pertain to that. That seems to be a problem. I would think it was a problem anyway. They don't have time to do it. Go ahead.
What are the rules for, what's the process and the rules for public minutes, for public comment?
Well,
In the past, I'll tell you, prior to 2009, there were no public comments, let alone minutes of public comments. There were no public input whatever during the meetings.
basically, though, nobody showed up.
I showed.
I think you were mentioned in the minutes. Go ahead, Ed, we'll finish with you and go back to Mr. Spencer.
So does anyone know the actual, what's the procedure rule for public comment? What are the rules, not what was done or what could be done, what are the rules to handle
I
public
don't know
comment?
that there are any.
I don't think there are any. I think, I don't know how the selectmen handle their meetings, but this is a commissioners' meeting, and we can run the meeting the way we think it should be run.
By law.
What?
By law.
By law, yeah.
Within the law, right?
Okay, Mr. Spencer, you had your question.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to be here Monday, and I just kind of wanted to ask the board individually, how do you feel about the decision that was made by the delegation yesterday to stop you doing any work on it?
I think it was a poor decision.
Poor decision?
Yeah, I do too.
Commissioner Kenny?
What kind of decision? I think it was a good decision. If the board has no authority, then we shouldn't be spending.
Okay, so, but the decision to tear it down, do you think that's a good idea?
That
What
never
do you
came up.
mean?
Or
What-
just to stop doing anything on the building, do you think that's a good idea?
I think it is a good idea, yes. If we don't have the authority to spend, we shouldn't be spending money.
Okay, in that case, what do you think the next step is going to be that you're responsible for, you as a commissioner are responsible for?
I think we need to come up with a plan, like the delegation asks.
All right.
They
but,
want to have a plan from $1 million. And I
Okay.
think that will be the next step.
During that time, though, we've got boilers that basically are under contract with the federal government, and we have a contract with a company to do some work that has been stopped. What do you think the county should do about that?
I think you need to ask the two commissioners, because I voted against that, the whole boiler thing. I think we should wait till we had the authority and then move forward. I think the whole thing is poor planning. I don't know in the first place why the boilers has to go in the old nursing home. What if they're going to tear the whole building? If it's go away, what then?
All right, I would say
There's no plan.
about 3 months ago, you were asked directly whether you thought the center structure of the nursing home should be saved. At that time, the use of it was going to be for the boiler, for cooperative extension, and for storage. At that point, you said, we should do this. We should keep the center of the building and use it for these functions. What changed your mind?
I was always from the beginning to remove the building.
Excuse me.
But I thought if they have a reasonable plan, a reasonable cost, then I will move forward
Okay,
to
and
keep the
precisely
center.
now,
But it was over $1 million, and that was not reasonable.
You keep saying they should have a plan. You're one of they. So what is your plan? What did you put on the
Why
table
don't
to
you ask
try
the
to
two
meet?
commissioners what their plan is?
I have,
Because I told you I was from the beginning against that, for removing the old nursing home. That is my plan. And if it is a reasonable cost, then they can keep it. A
Right.
reasonable cost is not over $1 million.
so what do you see as a plan now? If you have thought about it enough to agree that everything should stop and put at risk a government grant and a possible
You know,
loss
they
of-
should be thinking that in the first place. It shouldn't be going this way, like they want to do whatever they want.
Pardon me, but have you not been on this board for the last, 9 months, almost a year?
Yes, and I voted against it,
What?
to put the
what-
pellet
okay,
boilers in, because I thought it was wrong.
Okay, so now you've made a decision, or not, you didn't make
I
a
didn't
decision.
make any
You
decision.
agree with the decision that was made by the commissioners to stop, to delegation, to stop all work on the nursing home, on the old nursing home building. And you're aware that there are certain things that have already gone ahead and certain responsibilities of the commissioners. What is your plan for the next step to
Ask-
deal with those?
Ask the two commissioners what their plan is for
I'm
the next
asking you
step.
because you're my particular representative.
I represent the whole Carroll County.
No, but you also represent
You're
a
from this
particular district. Do you know which number it is? 1, 2, or 3? Which district do you represent?
Mr. Spencer,
No,
I
excuse me.
don't, I
it was a
don't
direct
have to
question.
answer you, you know, if you want to play this little
I
game
gotta act-
with district it is.
Why
I have
do you-
nothing to say anymore to you.
Why do
Okay,
you-
talk to the two commissioners. Point of order, Mr. Chairman, I want the questions for Mr. Spencer's direct to you. I'm not answering anything anymore for
Okay,
Mr. Spencer.
Would you,
I'm not playing those little games,
it's
okay?
not a little game. Would you please ask
Ask the
Commissioner
two
Kenny
commissioners.
which district she represents?
I'm not answering that. That's ridiculous.
Okay, I think
Okay.
you're right. It is ridiculous.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Albee.
I also wasn't able to attend on Monday, So I'm working on information that I've gleaned from conversation. But my understanding is that the delegation voted to cease operations or any sort of construction at the old nursing home site.
Correct.
Because of some question about authority to spend money. And just to clarify something I think that people tend to forget, there was an authorization to get a bond for $23,500,000
All right, yeah.
a couple of years ago to build a nursing home.
209, 11/25/209.
To build a new nursing home. Included in that authorization to get a bond was language that particularly was directed towards the old nursing home, in the fact that during all of those meetings, it was clear to the delegation at the time that the laundry facility, some of maintenance, and the pellet boiler system was going to go in that old nursing home building. I think until you exceed the $23,500,000 budget that you were given by the delegation, you really haven't exceeded your authority to spend money. You haven't spent the whole $23,500, even with the $375,000 for the installation of the boilers. You're not even coming close to spending
That's right.
all of the $23,500. So I think it's much ado about nothing, and perhaps the current delegation, in their desire to, make everything in government bad and be in a destructive mood, have put us in a position now where you've got to grant money at risk, because if we don't get those up and running, you're going to have to pay the money back. And you've got a $375,000 contract that you've signed, which I'm sure is going to want to be paid. So all of that money is at risk before we even start to think about, as Commissioner Kenny mentioned, $1 million to rehabilitate the building. So I think people need to take a deep breath and consider the implications of what they're doing. Originally, the last meetings that I've gone to, the talk has been, how much money are we going to spend on the old nursing home rehabilitation, if any, and not on stopping work, which really starts to put, $800,000 at risk. So, thank you.
Okay. Regarding the budget, I've got a copy of the budget here. It's dated 11/25/209. And in there it says additional design and professional services by architect. They got biomass plant operation. And it says see alternatives, and the alternatives is the soft cost. Now, the soft cost to me is the contingency money. They are saying that we can't spend, I believe what my interpretation is that they're saying that we can't spend any money unless it's been identified in the budget. To me, biomass plant operation is in the budget. And therefore, we should be able to move forward. I don't want to get into a legal battle with the delegation. I just want to get the thing going. In the subcommittee of the nursing home yesterday, that was held, in the nursing home budget, they were going to save $67,000 with this pellet furnace up and running out of their fuel cost. To me, we're losing money the longer we wait to get it hooked up. I don't know if people are not looking at that end of the deal. I think they would like us to ask that we use $375,000 out of the contingency money. I have a draft copy of a letter that I have spent a lot of time on, and I've drafted it 2 or 3 times. I'm not sure it's proper, but I tried to get the county attorney to look at it. He feels that it's not in his he can't represent the delegation and represent the county commissioners and represent the county, so he wants to stay out of either one of them and does not really want to give any counsel. He suggested that we go to a private attorney. I went to a private attorney. I called her, talked with her on the phone, Liz Bailey. And she said the same thing. She's been working with the delegation and with the commissioners and feels that she can't advise us as to what is said in that letter. She suggested another attorney. And if it can't be worked out, then they would get together and decide where we can go to get guidance on that letter. To me, I don't think we have to go to attorneys. I think it's plain. We knew from the beginning that the pellet furnaces were going to be the primary source of heat and that propane was going to be the secondary source. They approved the funding, the grant funding, in March of 2010. Representative Umberger made the motion to approve it, to purchase the boilers and to purchase the piping. Now, if they thought it was going to go into the new nursing home, we wouldn't have had a grant for $200,000 to do the piping. And I believe they must have known since then that the piping was put in underground between the two nursing homes. And so that is where the pellet furnaces were going to go, in the old nursing home. So, yes.
Then what happened at the delegation meeting? What Mr. Albee has stated and what you just stated, was that information given to the delegation when they decided to
Over
put the
and
county at
over
risk for a
and
loss?
over again.
And they couldn't understand it? And in what format was it given to them? Couldn't they
English.
understand?
Yeah,
Excuse me?
it was presented to them, I think, properly. The only question that I think is that they wanted to know the authority of the commissioners using the $375,000. It's an interpretation. If it's in the budget, then we should be able to use it. They quoted some minutes, and I forget what the date was, but Mr. Algren, Representative Algren, quoted some minutes saying that we needed to go back to them to use any money out of the contingency fund. So that is where I have a problem, that we need to go to them to get their permission to take it out of the contingency fund. Even though it's in the budget and it's separate from the contingency money, like I say, I don't want to cause any problems. We've caused enough problems. I just want to get this thing in and working. And as far as the statement goes, is because we moved the meeting up to a Monday rather than waiting till a Wednesday. If we had, it was our mistake, if we had put a time limit on that previous Wednesday when those bids had to be in, we could have acted that time, on that Wednesday. But to give every bidder an opportunity to get a bid in, we said, we won't act on it that Wednesday because there's no time limit, we'll wait until the next meeting. So we called a special meeting on a Monday because everybody was here for a delegation meeting, and that's why we acted on it. And that's the only thing we acted on at that meeting. Again, it was to get things moving because we knew we had a deadline of March 10th for one of the federal grants. And if we didn't get things going, there was a possibility of losing that $200,000. The other $200,000 doesn't run out until 2013.
Yeah, but you don't want to wait until 2013 to get those boilers up and running.
You're right.
I mean, somebody's got to get to those delegates. I'm pretty sure they know now, considering it's been, 48 hours since that meeting, that they're putting themselves at a risk of the county being sued by these subcontractors and contractors.
Yeah. And Randy Remick was here at the meeting Monday, and he basically said that he is the one that has more concern about their stopping because he has got subcontractors, the plumbing and electrical, all ready to go. They got all of their pieces, their pipes and equipment all ordered. And I'm not sure if he mentioned it Monday, but he mentioned it to me privately, I know, that he's 90% committed of that $375,000. So that's where we stand. As I said, I drafted up a letter saying that we thought we had the right authority because the boilers were purchased with federal dollars. And I forget what else was in there, but that we were going to use the boilers as a primary source of heat for the new nursing home. They might look at that and say, well, okay, it's for the new nursing home, but maybe you don't connect it up to the old nursing home. That wasn't in there. It would be ridiculous not to connect it up to the old nursing home. Regarding the core section of the old nursing home, they voted twice to keep the core section and tear down the four wings. They voted twice so that it couldn't be reconsidered. You know, at town meeting, when somebody makes a motion at the beginning of the meeting, somebody at the end of the meeting could reconsider it. So they did that so that it couldn't be reconsidered. So to me, they want to keep the core section, and they want us to come up with a plan less than $1 million for the use of the core section. And then they would disapprove or approve that. Okay? What is still unclear is to what is included in that $1 million. Is it taking down the wings? Is it blocking up the walls? That could be pretty expensive. Does it include the $375,000? Those things that I don't think I got an answer. I tried to get him to clarify it. And all I said, come in with a plan.
The delegation.
Who has to clarify? The
Delegation.
Delegation,
So the
yeah.
delegation is making the rules about the old nursing home?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
In the RSAs, the delegation has the authority, if we, as commissioners, wanted to rent out the building, and we had a client for that, we would still have to go to the delegation to get approval. And if we spend over $5,000
On renovations.
on renovations, we have to put it out for bid. But any renovations or rehabbing of the building, it comes to us first, we make a recommendation to delegation, and they either approve it or disapprove it. Okay? Somebody over here, yes.
Is work stopped?
Is the work stopped? Yes. The work stopped except for the pellet boilers. Those people, their bill has been paid for, and so they are connecting their piece of it. But as far as the other ones, it stopped. He was here. Yep.
So are the three of you working on a plan to present next Monday?
Yes. I'm not sure we can get it next Monday. That's the other thing. I asked, I said to them that there was no deadline date set for coming in with a recommendation as to where that 1 million process should work. And I don't know, I don't even believe that they said it Monday, as to what that is. A reasonable time. And as I said, I never put it on the agenda. Each meeting that the delegation met, I didn't request that to be on the agenda, that we talk about the rehab of the old nursing home. That was something that they did, and we weren't really prepared to talk about it, other than that 1.8 million that
Bless you.
the commission, that the Bonapage Stone came up with. Follow up?
So, well, I'm just trying to, I guess I don't understand what, they knew the boilers were going in there.
Mhm.
I guess, and that's all that's going in there right now,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
So I guess I'm,
What's still in there is laundry and maintenance.
right, but
But that was the only one that, yeah.
what's at issue right now is what's going on with the 375,000 and the.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't understand why that part is being stopped. You have made no more, I mean, it's always been discussed about the laundry
Yep,
and the co-op may be going in.
maybe
there.
to go up, yeah.
So they're concerned because you don't have a written down in this section, this is what we'd like to see done. In this section, this is what we'd like to see done. In this section, maintenance is gonna go. In this section, the pellet boilers are gonna go, even though you contracted with the architect
Yeah, I was
to
just.
design the
pointed
nursing
out,
home,
yeah.
well, for that plan.
Yeah.
That wasn't good enough for them, because you actually hadn't accepted that plan.
Right, because of the cost.
Right.
1.8, it was built up to about 1.8 million to redo the roof, redo extension, expand the laundry, knock down a couple of walls, put up a wall for maintenance. Basically, that was it.
Okay. Thank you.
So it was too expensive, and, I agree, too expensive. but I think we can do better. And I've talked with Cooperative Extension. They want new tile because it's got asbestos in it. Now, I don't think there's any question that anybody's gonna move in, wants to get rid of the asbestos that's in the tile. Number two, the wiring over there is so bad that that needs to be looked into, whether it has to be replaced or the old wires pulled out. I mean, there's wires going all over the place in that building. They never pulled any wires out when any new addition was put in. They just added more wires. And the other thing was the ADA toilet or bathroom. They had to have that. And when I looked at it Monday morning, there are two bathrooms that are back to back. Why can't we break down the wall, make it into an ADA acceptable bathroom and have it a unisex bathroom? The Cooperative Extension would be the only ones using it anyway, so.
I guess I'm just
Further.
a little confused about how the delegation thinks we're gonna save money if we've got potential lawsuits hanging out there from work stoppage. It just sort of,
Yeah,
and we're not saving money because we're not getting these boilers up and running
yeah.
like we said we were gonna do.
Yeah.
I just sort of floors me.
Now, I thought that I had heard that they would be up and running on the 27th of February. When I checked with Randy on Monday, he said it would take probably 3 weeks. It'd be the middle of March towards the end of March to get it up and fully operational.
Well, in speaking with him, he said, I asked him why it was taking longer, and he said because the space they're working in
Yeah.
is so small that one person can only do whatever they're doing at a time as opposed
Yeah.
to everybody being in there and being able to work.
Yeah, yeah,
So, okay, thank you.
okay. Yes, Mr. Albee?
Just a couple of clarifications. First of all, for Mr. Algren's sake, the contingency fund has been used over and over and over again during the whole process of build. What happens, and the reason why you have a contingency fund, is let's say a bid comes in for more than the estimation that you have on your
The
estimated
commissioning
budget.
one, for example, we budgeted 50,000, it came in at 58,000.
Right. So now you spent $8,000 more than you thought you were gonna spend, hence you've impacted your contingency fund. But then you've spent less on another line item.
A lot less
So
than others,
you've
yeah.
been able to put money back in your contingency fund. So it's a constantly changing number.
Yeah.
And it's there just to give that ability to be flexible during your build budget. Secondly, I mean, just for the public's sake, and I know we're on film, $67,000 a year, you're investing $375,000 worth of taxpayers' money. You're saving $67,000 a year. That means that 5.8 years from now, all that savings will go back to the citizens of Carroll County. All of their investment will be completely paid in less than 6 years. I mean, I don't know how much more fiscally responsible you could hope to be than to have an energy system put into a building that has a payback of less than 6 years.
Yeah. Mr. Brown, you had your hand up?
Yeah. I was here Monday, and I didn't hear anything from the commissioners spelling out all this information to the delegation. As far as, you know, all I'm hearing is, well, we have the right to contingency, have the right to spend money out of contingency. We're almost going on now, we're in our, what, third budget cycle since then? Because you recorded the date is November 25th, '09?
Yep.
Can anyone here that's, you know, claiming, and I mean, I can understand the, you know, the word lawsuit has been thrown out there, and I can understand that position, but what's more costly? A lawsuit because of a bid that probably should have never gone out, or our elected officials and our government breaking the law? Can anyone show me in RSA 24:13 that any person on this side of the table, can anyone show me where it says the commissioners can spend any amount of money in the contingency fee, including over $5,000? Can you show it to me, please?
Okay, let me try to answer one of the questions. If it's over 5,000, it's gotta go out to bid. That's the stipulation on the 5,000. It's gotta go out to bid, okay? Let me finish. I don't